Hello Form 5 students. So today I would like to shift to the next session of Chapter 7, Equation of Circles. So we go to this Chapter 7.2. Chapter 7.2 is actually teaching you how do you find the equation of the circles if I give you some conditions. Do remember is that no matter what kinds of questions and what the question gives you, the most important thing is that if you want to know the equation of circle, there should be two things you need to find. The first one surely is the center of the circle, because the center of the circle locates where should be the circle. And the second one would be the radius of the circle. The radius of the circle actually determines how large is the circle. If the radius is longer, so the circle should be bigger, or vice versa. That means that if I want to say circle, actually the most important thing is the location and the size, which means the center and the radius. So in this session, I would not explain many things here, but I will go through each of the examples in this session to let you know what is the idea of doing this kind of questions. So let's take a look. So if we take a look on the first example, example 9, take a look to say, in the figure, the circle passes through P42 with center at 1, -2. Find the equation of the circle in the standard form. So please remember, no matter the equation has to be found in standard form or general form, they're the same, because what different is that you keep the distance formula with square or you just expand it as the general form, just the same. But the most important thing is that what you need to know is to remember 2 points, find center and radius. So take a look to see this question to say. So you can see in this question we have already got the center, because we say the center is 1, -2. So we have found the first thing. And also you can see that we are also having another point, which is P4, 2, which is on the circle, because we say the circle passes through P42. That means that in between the center and this P, it should be the radius. That means that actually you have already got all the things, but what you need to do is that you have to present clearly that you know those things. For example, center, you have got 1, -2, so you present the step, and also radius. It should be the distance between the center and the point P. So you can see it for our first step. What we need to do is just you state you know the radius, and the radius is simply this one. Do remember, you don't need to write so many words in DSC. That means that you may just ignore this step, and then you start from this one. Then you can say, oh, we know that this is the radius, because from distance formula, there are 2 points, you have the distance 5. So we say radius 5. Then what you need to do is just you put it back to your standard form of the equation, is that you put the coordinates of the center as h and k on the left, and then you put the radius square on the right, and then expand it or simplify it, then you will get the equation of circle. So it's easy. Do remember, the idea is center and radius. So let's take a look to another example. The next example say, this time I give you 2 points, but this time I do not give you the center of the circle. I also do not give you the radius of the circle, but instead I've already given you the diameter of the circle. So do remember is that if you have got the diameter, then you should understand that the center is actually the midpoint of the circle. The midpoint of the 2 points, because you have to understand that diameter should pass through center, which is the definition, and the midpoint of the diameter is exactly the center. That means that what you need to do is just you have to understand that what thing you have and how to use that thing, instead of really we have to use many concepts about center radius. But the most important thing is you have to understand what you have. For example, diameter, the midpoint should be center. And also you know that diameter, you can find the length. So when we say diameter over 2, it should be the radius. That means that you can also know how long is the radius, because you can just find the length of diameter and over 2 you get the answer. So when you present the things here, so what we need to do is just you show what you know. For example, how do you know the center? So you can just simply say, oh, center is just the midpoint of AB. So you have 2, 3. And the radius is what? So you can use the center 2, 3, and then you take A or B to find the distance, then is the radius. Or simply you may also use the diameter. That means that we can also take, you can see in the picture, is that you can take these 2 and then you find the distance, and then you use that distance and then over 2. It's still the radius. So up to you. But the most important thing is that what you have to present instead is that you have to show how do you know the center and radius. And then you put it back to the formula to finish your question. Very easy. Now, we also go to some level 1 or level 2 question like this. For example, level 1, this one. Now, so this time you have got the center, but you don't know the radius. But this time, I give you a very special thing is that now I give you the distance between 2 points A and B, which are on the circle, but we don't know what are the points, so it's 8. So do remember is that for the circle, there should be some properties you learned in Form 4 because we also have some geometric properties. For example, when you join A to center and B to center, you should have got an isosceles triangle because these two lengths should be the radius of the circle or the radius of the circle, so they should be in same length. And also when you draw a line exactly perpendicular, you should have these two the same also because by the property of isosceles triangle, so you have something like this. So actually you can say this one is not like but divided by 4 and 4. If I say this point is called M. Okay. So after this, then you will also know that because this one is 3, so you know that the length of this one should be 3 because you know that the y coordinates of the center should also be the vertical distance from the center to the x-axis. So actually you can easily to find the radius by using Pythagoras theorem. But you may ask, oh Mr. Wong, do I need to present the reasons of how can I get 4 and 3 in the step? The answer is no. Because now you are not being asked to prove something, but you need to find something only. That means that what you need to do is just you have to state clearly that how do you know this 4 because you have drawn the isosceles triangle in the figure, and after you got 4 and also you know 3 from the coordinate, then you can just simply to say radius is 4 square plus 3 square root just from Pythagoras theorem, and then to write 5 directly. Then you know the radius, then you know the center, you finish the problem. So you can see the book will also write similar thing like me is that you can see we draw the figure. But you don't need to write so many words here, so you can just show using the figure. And then you can also see the book does not write any reason, just states that we know that AN should be 4 and also you have GN is 3, so you have the radius should be 5. Then after you've got 5, then you put it back to the formula to get the equation. Very easy, no matter in standard form or general form. Now, take a look to see some level 2 examples. Take a look at example 12. It says, in the figure, the center of circle C pi is at G10. The equation of circle C is 9x squared plus 9y squared minus 18x plus 5 equals 0. A. C and C pi are two concentric circles. Explain your answer. The word concentric circles, you can see the word concentric, con and centric. Actually, con means together. Con means together. And centric means center. So actually, the meaning of concentric circles means the circles have the same center. That means that if you have two circles, they have the same center, we call them concentric circle. So in Chinese, it is also very easy to understand the meaning because the name of concentric circle in Chinese is called Tong Sam Yuan, means the circles which have the same center. So actually in this question, it's just asking you what is the center of circle C because you have got the C pi center already. So what you need to do is just you recall what you learned in the last clip is that you make it become the general form and then you read the center from simply the general form. So you can see the book with simply, first of all, to make it back to become general form. So you have to divide by 9 because when we say the general form, it should be starting from x squared and y squared. No any other coefficients other than 1x squared and 1y. So this is 1. So we other than 1. So you have to remember to divide by 9 first. Then you can apply the formula. And the formula is what? So if you still remember, you can use complete square. Or if you don't want to use a complete square, you can just use the formula. And the formula, if you still remember, we will call it should be negative d over 2 and then negative e over 2. So the d and e are just the coefficient of this one and this. But do remember to include the negative sign also for d. So it should be negative 2 and the negative again over 2 to get 1 and then 0. So this one is not e, sorry. So this one should be something has 0y, so this 0y should be the center here. So you have this 1, 1, 0 here. So because you can find The center of C is also 1, 0. That means that they should have the same center. So very easy. So you know that they are concentric circle. And now take a look to see the part B say. If the radius of C prime is 3 times that of C, find the equation of C prime in general form. So actually this one is also very easy because in the general form of the circle, you can also find the radius. Not only center, but you can also find the radius. So in order to do this, so first of all, we have to apply the formula that we learned before to find the radius of C. Then for example, you get 2 over 3. So multiply by 3, you get the radius of C prime should be 2. So once again, you use the center and radius, you finish the problem. So this question is not really a level 2 question, but why do I want to explain to you? Because I would like you to remember the word concentric. So please remember, in this example, you should have learned the word concentric here. Okay, so we continue to see the example. Example 13. Now you have given 2 points A and B, and with the coordinates 0, 6 and negative x 0. A. Find the equation of circle passing through O, A, and B. So this time you should be very careful is that now this time I do not have the center and the radius of the circle, but this time I have 3 points 1, 2, and 3 because you have to use O also here. So in order to do this question, actually we can have 2 ways to do this one. So you can see first of all the book will show you the first method is that now because we don't know the center and radius, so actually we cannot apply using the standard form directly. But what we can do is that now we can let the general solution of the circle. So if you still remember, the general solution should have 3 unknown numbers, which is the coefficient of x for the first one. Sorry, I should change it. Okay. No response here. So let me see. Oh my god. Yeah, so go back here. Oh yes, okay. So for example here, you can see it now. Now you can see it now. The first one is that now I make the coefficient of x as d, the coefficient of y is e, and the constant term is f. So actually you have to set 3 equations to find these 3 unknown numbers. But don't worry because you have got 3 points already. So each of the points can give you 1 equation. For example, now you can see that what you need to do is just you apply this general form and then you put the 3 points 1 by 1 to get 3 equations. But you can see that after first you put 0, 0 here, you have got f is 0. And then after you put 0, 6 and negative x 0, you can also have the 2 equations. For example, you can see now, you will have this one, you have this one. So these 2, you just solve by using 2 equations to unknown. And after f copy 0, so you got other things. So you can see that the equation circle is actually easily found by using substitution. So do remember is that if you are not given center or radius and you cannot find the center and radius explicitly, so you may let general form and then use the substitution to let you find the equation of the circle. So this is one of the things you need to remember. But do remember is that for doing this question besides, we can also use a property to do. Because you know that now when we take a look to the diagram crew here, so you can see now the circle should be something like this because when we say the circle should pass through A, B and the origin is O, so the circle should be something like this. But if you can notice that between AO and OB, which is the point O here, this one should be right angle because this is a rectangular coordinate plane, so it's just one right angle. So if you join AB, you can see this line is not, I'm drawing very ugly, so I should draw again. Sorry, so I should draw again here. Sorry, this is a very poor software. Yeah, okay. For example, here now, if I say this one is a right angle, so if I join AB, so you can see this line AB is not a normal line because you understand that if the right angle facing towards a line in the circle, we say the chord of the circle, so this one should be diameter. Why? Because if you have 90 degrees facing to this line, it should be diameter. That means that even I don't use the general form of the equation of the circle to solve this problem, that means that I do not set 3 equations, I can also know the center of the radius because once you can see the right angle, I can know the diameter. And once we know the diameter, we can apply the therefore one example before to get the center radius directly also. So do remember is that for doing this question, always notice the information given and try to recall what you have learned in the examples to get the center radius quickly. If you cannot, you set in general form. If you can, try always using center radius because it would be easier to get the answer. Okay, but anyway, so actually you solve it. And then for the part B said, now you have to see consecutive because the part B said that now you have to determine that OAB and C is a given point here are consecutive. So in order to say consecutive actually means that the point lies on the same circle. So this time you don't need to use some property you learn in Form 4, just like opposite angles, supplementary or something like that. No, because actually consecutive, the original meaning are just meaning on the circle. So you don't need to use the geometric meaning this time because when we want to check whether the points are on circle, what we need to do is simply you put this one onto the circle to check whether it is on the circle. If it is, means all the points are on the same circle, so it should be concentric. If C is not on the circle, it means that C is not on the same circle as OAB, so it's not concentric. Okay, so don't need to use the proof that you learned in Form 4 because now we have got the equation, so we can check. Before you don't have the equation, so you cannot check whether the point is on the circle or not. But because now we are putting into the coordinate plane, you have the equation, you have the coordinates of the point, so you simply put it back. So you can see for part B, you just put it back, and you don't need to use proof anymore. Okay, so this is the difference. And why do I say this one is easy? Because what you need to do is just you calculate, then you can get all the things. Okay, so this is the other level 2. So take a look also the example 14. Example 14 said, a circle C passes through 2 points P11, Q40. A straight line L cuts the x-axis, y-axis Q, and R is 0, respectively. The center C lies on L. A. Find the equation of L. So in this question, okay, so you can see that we say the straight line L. In the second sentence, say cuts the x-axis and y-axis at Q and R 0, respectively. Because the line L, you have got the 2 points already, which is the Q and the R. So what you need to do is just you use these 2 points to set the equation of straight line. So you can see the both using the intercept form, but actually you can also use the standard way to do, as I mentioned before, is that it should be y subtract 1 point of the y. For example, I take the R and the x subtract the coordinates x coordinate of R equals to the slope between Q and R. For example, this one should be 0 minus x and then 4 minus 0. So you can also use the standard way to get the equation of L also by simply writing in this way. Both the same. So A, very easy, but just recall what you learned in Form 4 Chapter 2, equation of straight line. B, find the coordinates of the center of C. So in this question now, if I want to say the center C, okay, the center C. So what you need to do is just you have to understand is that the scenario of this question. Now, I've got the circle C, but I don't have any information. We just know that there are 2 points which are called P and Q. Lie on this circle. Okay, lie on this circle. Then actually, you can also see the center also lie on the L. That means that now if you illustrate the part B this question to C, then you can actually know nothing at all because we don't know where actually the center, and we don't know the radius of the circle. We just know that there are 2 points on the circle, and we know that this circle would form a center, and this center would lie on another line L also. So we don't know anything. So because we don't know anything, so you can see that the both in part B, it first would let the center as HK, and then we try to combine some information to let you find both H and K. But you should expect that because you don't know the coordinate of the center, and the coordinate center should have 2 x coordinate, y coordinate, so you should set 2 equations. So in order to find these 2 equations, the book would write in this way. First, we use the last information, the center lies on L. That means that we can illustrate an equation connecting H and K. For example, you put H and K into the equation of L, then you can get K equals to H minus 2H. Because what we need to do is just you use the part A equation, and then you substitute x is h and y is k, then you will get k in terms of h. Then the next is that now we have one more information that we can connect the center, because we know that P and Q are 2 points, okay? P and Q are 2 points on the circle. So we can use the relation that center towards each of the points would be the radius, so that you have the same length here, to form another equation. But do remember is that this idea is actually safe because both GP and GQ are the radii of the circle, so they should have the same length. So we can set another equation connected h and k. But you can see at this time, because when we want to find the radius, we have to use the distance formula, so you should involve square or square root. But don't worry, you can see that after you have simplified by taking square and then expand all the things with square, even you have too long here, but you can see that many terms can be cancelled. For example, x square can cancel, this one can be cancelled. Just only you will have a very simple step is that, you have simple step here, you can see that you have 10h equals to 30, so you can get h. So after you got h, you got k, so you know the center of the circle. So after you have got the center, then you can also easily find the radius, because once you have known the center and you have a point on the circle, just like the level 1 example before, you just find the radius by simply using this formula, then you can get the equation of the circle C. So you can see that actually the figure of this question would be something like this. So you can see it now, you will have the 2 points given. First of all, P and Q are 1, 1 and 4, 0, and then you have another point R, 0, 8, and between QR you have the line L, and the center is somewhere else in between the Q and R, but may not be exactly in the middle. For example here, then you can see the circle is something like this. So actually, for doing this question, I can illustrate another method to let you understand. Is that now, for doing this question, if you say, oh, Mr. Wong, the step is very, very long, how can we do this question in another way? So I would like you to take a look. Here, I would like you to look at this figure, okay? Now you can see it, as I mentioned, okay, the picture would be something like this. First of all, P and Q are 2 points on the circle. But now I would like you to get you an insight is that if I join PQ, and then now I draw a special line on PQ, which is a line this one. And this one, for example, I say you've used the L, so I can use another name. For example, I use R. I know R has been used, so I use L pi, another line L pi. And if I say this L pi is not a normal line, but I say this line is the perpendicular bisector of PQ. So you know that in the circle, if I have any chord PQ, then it's perpendicular bisector, which is you take the PQ midpoint, and also at this midpoint, you make a right angle on it. Then this right angle and the point would help you find the perpendicular bisector. Oh, sorry, it is a problem again. Very, very poor apps here. For example, very poor apps here. Very poor. For example, this one you have the right. Hey, what the? So this one. For example, this one. Now you have the right angle. So you can see this perpendicular bisector actually, okay, you should pass through the center also. That means that because in part A you have got the equation of L. So if I want to find the center of the circle, I can also use this line, the perpendicular bisector. And what you need to do is just you find the intersection of these two lines. Because you know that L passes through the center of the circle. L pi should also pass through the center of the circle. So if I take the L and L pi intersection, it should be the center of the circle. That means that even you don't know the complicated step in the book in this example. You can also find this example in another way, is that I find the perimeter sector of PQ first. This one, I think that you should remember how to find. Not difficult, but you have to remember. So once you have got this line equation with the L equation, together you combine it, the intersection should be the center. Try to understand this one, but this one will be also very helpful to you to understand this situation and do most of the questions about circles. So take a look to see if there are problem. If no problem, I think that today's clip are just up to here, because what the last is that you have to practice. So now I would like to jot down some classwork to let you try to do. And we will, so please try to finish these 5 questions within the 25th of February, because on the 26th of February, which is coming Wednesday, there will be an online lesson. Another math teacher, may not be me, maybe another math teacher, would explain all the content about the circle to you. So try to do these 5 questions first and leave the questions to ask us, okay, during the online tutorial. Okay, so hope you understand what I said in this clip. Thank you and goodbye.